Interesting to see how they respond.
Segment 3, folks.
The Canes are on the road at Duke. Miami still leads the ACC in.
This is from the ACC.com, guys.
Defense will have to play like it did before the FSU game. Duke has an offense capable of big things. This is also a test of the leadership of quarterback Ja'Cory Harris. Can he rally the team to play like it did 2 weeks ago at Clemson?
And he has to.
Duke has had a week off to get over a tough loss at Maryland. Quarterback Sean Renfree is second in the league in passing, and receivers Connor Vernon and Donovan Varner are 1 and 2 in receptions. To win, the offense has to score a lot of points. Duke's young defense has to play its best game of the year. Miami has to forget the Florida State game and realize this can still be a great season.
And it has to start in this game.
Force the Duke offense into bad plays. Miami and Duke begins at 1 o'clock. It can be seen on ESPN3.com.
And this is a game we have got to understand that we have got to play a lot better. We have to get that FSU debacle out of our minds and get ready to get back to work this week. Now I'm trying to find a clip from David Cutcliffe's presser or like a conference call if I can find it. Let's see if I am able to get that. We'll see. Let me see if I can get something on that. If I could play the if I can find maybe the archives. Yeah, the ACC. Let me tell you the conference call. Let me see if I find that conference call. There. Well, here's something he said today regarding David Cutcliffe. This is what he said according to the Palm Beach Post. This is what he says about facing Ja'Cory and company. It was during this conference call, according to George Vermillion over in the Palm Beach Post yesterday. He said, and I quote, his opening statement, this is Cutcliffe's words now. Great opportunity for us to be open last week, to have a little physical healing and emotional healing, regather ourselves and reevaluate what we are doing well and what we need to do better. I thought we had a really good break. We are playing an extremely talented Miami team, one that's pretty upset from their last ball game, but they've played exceptional times and we know that they are one of the most talented teams we will play this season. They are a huge challenge for us, but we are anxious to get back on the field and compete and see where we are as a team. Well, it tells me two things. He states the obvious, folks. A team that we're going up to Wallace Wade, pissed off, and out to make a major statement in this ball game. Let's make no bones about it, folks. So when you look at it, this is a team. You do realize, we're going to go up there ready to roll. Now, a question was asked. One of the reporters during the conference call, I'm not going to play the whole thing, but I'm going to find something here regarding the offensive line. He said, question was asked, I want to ask you about the offensive line. In terms of pass protection, you guys are giving up 8 sacks and over 200 passes. It's one of the best rates in the league. It's one of the best rates last year, and that's without a huge running game to take the pressure off. Can you talk about pass protection and the job these guys have done and what makes it so good? Well, it starts with an offensive line coach, Matt Luke. He is a great teacher and is what I call a buddy system. It is really understanding of rush lanes and understanding the protections. It is where you can be physical help and mental help, and Matt understands our protection scheme. And then the other part of it is schematic. We have a great protection scheme and a very flexible scheme. Then I will go to Center Brian Morgan and talk about Brian. We've got a great quarterback in that regard as a center that gets people in a lot of the right places. And then our actual quarterback, Sean Renfree, pitches in as well. So I'm real pleased with where we are in that regard. It's kind of dangerous to be talking about this before you play Miami because they are going to stress a great deal, but also we would mention our running backs, in particular Jay Hollingsworth, who does a tremendous job as a third down back. So it has been good, and we plan on it being good. And Sean throws the ball on time. That always helps. Well, a follow-up question that was asked was, I was going to ask you about Sean. In terms, he's not the most mobile guy, but you mentioned a couple weeks ago the idea that he needs to learn to move around a little better in the pocket. Has that been something you've been working on? I said worked on it this morning. See, he said, he mentioned something about Peyton Manning. He said, and I quote, "I don't know if you recall, years ago people used to say that Peyton Manning had happy feet. Well, he had a happy coach. He has phenomenal pocket movement. His feet are somewhat alive is what I call them. I would like to see Sean display that a little more. Now, solo movement is what we are talking about. See, Peyton avoids a bunch of sacks with solo movement. And if that's happy feet, I want happy feet. Neither one. The way I look at it, he compares this kid, Renfree, to a young Peyton Manning, and with Cutcliffe coaching Peyton Manning, I'll tell you what, that tells me something right there. I mean, Renfree is the kind of guy, if you could pressure him and not let him get the big play, I mean, this is a team, like I said, we will have a lot of success, making Sean Renfree's day very miserable. Now, another question was asked. You mentioned the fact that Miami would be probably a little bit upset. In your coaching experience, does that make a difference in how a team might play next game, particularly a good team coming off a bad loss? The last thing you said is the key. We all get mad when we get beat, but when you have a team as talented as Miami, they tend to have a chance to do something about it. They will be highly motivated. It affects their season. It affects everything about what they're doing. And they're very capable. Like I promise you, that that score is not indicative of those two teams and their matchup. My hats off to Florida State. What a tremendous job they did. But they're not much better at all than Miami, if at all. Whoa. I mean, I'm going to tell you something. I have to tell you, I got to disagree with that statement a little bit. Let me tell you why. Florida State is a much better team than us right now. Let me tell you, the way they dominate us in every which way, run the ball, every which way of the game, the way they dominated us last Saturday night. I mean, like I said, we're going up there very pissed. Let's put it that way. Another thing that he mentioned here, and the last thing he mentioned is their passing game is prominent with Ja'Cory Harris, because they seem to throw the deep ball maybe more frequently than a lot of teams because they have a lot of guys who can go get it. Is that accurate? They are big and fast, that being our wide receivers. When they are 6'3" and 6'4", all the more Benjamin is, of course, like a bolt of lightning fast, that being Travis Benjamin. And I think the 6'3", 6'4" guys talk about is Hank, Birdie, AJ, Glue Hands. So the weapons at his disposal are just very special, and we need to get those weapons going, especially Bird and especially AJ Glue Hands in this game, and Travis Benjamin. He's got to get it going. I mean, it tells me when I read Cut's conference call today. I mean, you have to think, He pretty much states the obvious, and he doesn't make any illusions about this, folks. We're going up there very pissed. We're going up there with a chip on our shoulder, and we're going up there to make a statement and get that Florida State taste out of our mouths very, very quickly. So now that I'm going to play one extra segment. I was going to make this the last segment, but I'm going to go one more segment, and I'm going to try to get some audio, maybe find a little audio of Randy Shannon. So let me go in, and I'll come back in the final segment and let's talk about the Randy Shannon. We'll play an interview of Randy Shannon, a little bit of that, and then I'll give you my take, what I think the score will be, and I'll give my final thoughts on this game. This game against Duke on Saturday. Right back, final segment.